constituencies, 290 constituencies, Madam Speaker, you'll get over 20 billion Kenyan shillings. Every county has, every governor has an education bursary fund, which they put between 200 million to 300 million. If you do an average of 300 million, multiply by 47 counties, you get again over 20 billion Kenyan shillings. Over 20 billion Kenyan shillings. That is 40 billion or 50 or 60. If you add the GAF, the women rep, they also have bursary. The president has bursary. The governor has bursary. We will get almost 80 billion Kenyan shillings. Madam Speaker, why don't we just give this money to schools and make education free, Madam Speaker? Why don't we take it direct to the schools and make one thief than talk or deal with more than 280 thieves, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, we are even asking ourselves, if the governors, and I heard the Senator of Isiolo, and also I have had the same cases here, that the governors are not respecting the Senate. Madam Speaker, if the governors are not respecting the Senate, we have tried to find them. They are paying the money within a day. We have tried to tell the police to arrest. The IG cannot arrest them. Why don't we as a Senate also say we are going to change the rules? Madam Speaker, as I conclude, because I am a man of few words, Madam Speaker, I would urge the executive, and I urge the cabinet secretaries, those who are going to survive, Madam Speaker, from the sacking, because it must happen, Madam Speaker. I'm telling them, focus on creating jobs. It's better to go on a muddy road when you have money in the pocket. It's better to go for the water in the river to bring water, or do you want me to create an industry here so that everybody will have something in the pocket? They will say, create an industry, and we get money. Then we'll discuss that when it comes to roads, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, picketing that we saw for the first time here, it was very peaceful at the beginning. And the reason why it was very peaceful, because that is when only Gen Z were on the road, Madam Speaker. And they were picketing, taking selfies, recording themselves on camera. And that is to show it can be done. And that's why I'm supporting those who are saying that we should bring along and have picketing corners, picketing roads. We should even have a picketing authority, Madam Speaker, that receives every every petition. When somebody comes, they come where picketing corner, there is an office, there is some people there, you receive it and you follow it through, Madam Speaker. Because what happens when it comes to this place, Madam Speaker, sometimes people do not even know. Because we do things in very quiet. And that's why people are worried. They were saying senators have just become clever overnight. No, we have been like this. It's only that they show MPs on KBC every day. We do not share equal platform. And that's why we should also say, anybody who is speaking here, Madam Speaker, if National Assembly is given 20 minutes, we should get 20 minutes on the KBC, which is the national broadcaster, Madam Speaker. Otherwise, they just show the National Assembly. They don't show what we do here. People have to go to YouTube, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would want to talk to the public service, and especially the CS, if he survives, Madam Speaker. It's good to advise him if he still retains his position, Madam Speaker. In Dubai, they have a ministry called the Ministry of Happiness. It even have a CS or a cabinet secretary. And people thought the Ministry of Happiness was to have somebody who will come to your house and crack jokes and make you happy. No. And that's why I'm suggesting to the CS Moses Kuria, in your public service, create a department called Happiness Department. Why am I saying that, Madam Speaker? That is to check whether everybody is happy with the services they are getting for the public service. By the time you go to get your passport, Madam Speaker, before you leave that office, there must be somewhere you press to say, I was served well, I was not served well, and this person is very rude. And then it goes direct to the ministry, Madam Speaker. If you go to get your driving license, you must, before you leave that office, were you served well? And then you click somewhere, it goes to the department, not to that office. That office wouldn't even know. They will only know when the PS, the CSs will come to your office knocking, saying, my friend, so many people are complaining, so we get rid of you. Even us, Madam Speaker, I've gone to Israel. And Israel, at the gate of the parliament, when you get in, there's a very big screen that says who is in parliament and who is not. So when you get in there, you'll be able to know whether the person who you sent to Parliament to represent you is in or not, Madam Speaker. And it is shown every day. So that we can be able to be here, Madam Speaker, and fight for our people. But sometimes we come in, then we go, we are seen in the village, we are trying to balance things, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would want to tell Gen Z, when you are done with the national government, and I believe so far so good because you have been listened to, go to the counties. Go to the counties and join your senator. Pick their hands. Go to the counties. Why am I saying that? Because the governors there, they are using the public money that were deducted from you through the previous finance bill. That money was taken and given to your county. Kiambu has been given 15 billion within this financial year. But what the governors are doing in those counties, they are giving your mothers and your fathers handouts. I'm talking to Gen Z. They are giving your mother sweet potato vines to go plant, handouts. 2 chicken here, handout. A fish there, handout. So that your fathers and mothers can think these governors are working, and they do not look at it when these governors are eating into Gen Z's future, Madam Speaker. So that's why I'm saying we should also join hands and ask for accountability. Ask for accountabilities at the county level, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the issue of employment, and that will be my last point, Madam Speaker. We do have National Employment Authority. We should enhance its mandate. And the mandate is to say, because we are always fighting the wage bill, the mandate is to say we need to know who is employed where. It should also be somehow devolved, so that when you go to the counties, like Kiambu County, we pay almost 6 billion per year or more as a wage bill. People are just getting, a governor gets in, employs all his people. Kiambu, we have had 4 governors. So every governor has employed everyone. And the next governor probably will do the same, Madam Speaker. So the reason why I'm saying the National Employment Authority should have a record of everybody, every person who is employed by a governor should submit their CVs, their document, the letter of appointment, when they were employed, so that if I want to check, and it played very well here, Madam Speaker, when we were having the impeachment, we asked the governor, did you employ this person? The governor said, I have not employed him. Oh, I have not employed her. But how can this house know? You have no way of knowing, because the governor is the employer and also the custodian of those documents. So they only need to withdraw them. They only need to remove them. They only need to readjust. If you said he was employed as a PA, and maybe he was wrong employing him as a PA, they readjust. They say he was an advisor. So the best thing is to have an agency whereby anybody who is employed by a county, those documents are submitted there. So that if I want to know how many people employed by the governor of Kiambu, I don't have to go and ask him. I have written to him a letter, reminders and reminders, and he has not given the list of those he calls the liaison officers, Madam Speaker. But if there was this authority, I don't have to write to him. I just write to the authority, and the authority will give me that information, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I call everybody, either Gen Z, either millennials, either Generation X, either the silent generation, which is also in this house, Madam Speaker, because we are lucky we have almost every generation in this house. And that is good for democracy, Madam Speaker, that we should now talk, and we should not run for, fight for simplicity, but we all need to do is fight for the future of this country and make sure that the decisions that we make have consequences that are useful to the coming generation, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Senator Montet.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. At last I get to talk. I've waited for 2 days. Madam Speaker, I also want to thank the leadership of this House, just like other senators have said, because of giving us this opportunity to speak to this matter which is so important for this nation. Madam Speaker, I would sincerely first want to pass my condolences to the families of our sons and daughters who died in this struggle of trying to be listened by their own leaders. To those who are sick in hospitals,
Senator
my prayers
Senator Montet, just sit down for a second. Let's hold on her time. Honorable Senators, pursuant to Section 34(2)A of the Standing Orders, I wish to invoke the powers to extend the period of this sitting by 15 minutes to enable Senator Montet to be done at the end of the day.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I was saying, to those who are in hospitals and those who are at home, sick and injured, my prayers are with you, and may you get well soon. To the business community, those who lost their properties, most of them even lost their livelihoods, I'm sorry as a leader in this country, and I pray and hope we will not get to this again, since the Genz are telling us and showing us the way of doing things. Madam Speaker, the country had gone south. The biggest question today in this House and in the minds of all the leaders in this country is how and when did we get there? But Madam Speaker, the signs were there. The signs of times were there. Kenya spoke. It was loud and clear. Things were not right. But what did we do as leaders? We never listened to them. Madam Speaker, all these bills which have brought all these issues in this country have passed through the two houses. Madam Speaker, as usual, we never got time to listen to our people. We never took time also to look at these bills and reflect how will they affect our own people. What is it that Kenya we are looking at? What is it that we want with our nation? And Madam Speaker, that is how we have come to be where we are today. It is sad indeed. Genz, you've done well. Indeed, we should congratulate you. You've done what we've never been able to do for a long time or since independence. You have come out clear and loud that things cannot be the same. Things have to change. Madam Speaker, things have started going bad about 2 years ago, and Kenyans spoke. When first sugar was imported, poisonous sugar was imported in this country, Madam Speaker, Kenyans spoke. It was so sad that later the same sugar was sold to poor Kenyans and it was consumed, and to date, the importers of that sugar, and Madam Speaker, sadly, they are leaders in this country. They are people working for this country. They are people who are supposed to be they are not supposed to be they are servants of the people. They are not supposed to be the people who are finishing their own people. They've never been brought to book. As my other senators said, Madam Speaker,